Yvonne. There we go. So I think we are here, my friend. And so it's time for the show to start, Ray.
Yes, the second session of November 13th, 2025. I'm going to be bringing in the tall whites who are from Alpha Centauri but have been on Earth since Earth was Earth. And apparently, I have some connection to this. There was one being which was chosen for that role. He did not accept it joyfully, but because it was the natural flow and he was most qualified because of his connection to me, then he was chosen. And they have come a long way in communicating and learning a lot about humans. They did wish for me to explain that their calling card, permission slip, whatever you want to call it, is to put your left hand palm up on your left knee and then open and close your hand 3 times, which is how I call them in. And that's a pretty simple way of doing it. And I tried that the next day after they told me that, and they chastised me because that was not necessary. They said, "You called me in just for your curiosity. There was no purpose." And then they left. And I was like, message received. I've had those slaps on the wrist before. So I never call them in unless I have questions, and usually it's just through telepathy. But we're going to let them come in and see what else they have to say. I do have an idea, but we're going to let them talk for themselves. And we thank you all for focusing your attention on this message, knowing that you had a message to receive and you chose to hear it. That is part of your mission, which is why we have come forth to you in this manner. We have gained lots of experience from many humans, some in this group and many others in the dream states or through other connections where most would not be aware, but we have had our permissions, of course, for that is the way of the flow, we will say. And this is part of our mission to make you aware that you are all on a mission. You have all chosen a mission. And it is time for you to become cognizant and figure out where you fit in the open contact, in what you call ascension. That is our role in coming forth in this way in your time. We wish you to think on that, how you are fitting in, and go deeper into that to energize that. For once you have that connection and you know that that is your path, to bring more energy into it, such as your weightlifters, when they know what they have to do, they perform the tasks which propel them towards their goal, whatever it may be. We wish for your goal to be the successful completion of your missions, which would all relate to the creation of the you and the planet and the collective unity, the unified humanity, the unified consciousness, which is coming forth and you are part of. You have chosen to be part of. But let that not be a thought in the back of your mind. We are here to let you know it is time to base all of your actions, or as many as possible, on that final goal. So when you have your tasks to do, keep in mind that you can help others raise their energy with your thoughts, with your power. Even should you go to the grocery store, concentrate that power on all you see driving to or in the store, as many as you can, for that lifting up of that vibration, and has been talked about before, it ripples out. That is the way of those energies. And there are many other energies of which you are not aware, which operate in the same fashion. But we wish for you to be aware of that, for that will indeed help us in our mission of bringing humans into awareness of us and our purposes, which we shall explain to them in a more direct fashion. But that method of communication is more easily provided in the higher vibrations which are coming forth. That is why we have come forth to this particular group and other groups who we are connected to let you know that that day in your time is coming, and it is time to act, to refine your missions, to look at them with new eyes, perhaps on a grander scale. For once you have determined that, we can plot our course, so to speak, how best to incorporate you and your missions along with our missions, which are to restore the planet, restore all energies to their balanced flow, their harmonizing form in which they were originally created, and beyond that, as all things grow in awareness and experience for the benefit of all that is. And we will open up for questions, for that is our message.
Thank
And
you. Arla, please.
Um, Thank you so much for coming and being a part of this and sharing your wisdom with us. I have been told about some of those who were a part of the birthing of the Earth Mother as a place for teachings. Um, were you a part of this, bringing the Earth Mother to being birthed?
we are a supportive species. For instance, an example would be, a child who is not yours is having difficulty putting on their coat, and you reach out to help them as needed. Where those energies required assistance, we are there to help. Otherwise, those energies perform well on their own, and our energies are better spent elsewhere, for we have our own endeavors. But this particular realm of your planet has a special need for it has a very complex mix of energies, which all come in as you would consider at the same time. But that too supports a complex number of patterns, some of which are agreed upon to be guided, are guideposts for your experiences to manifest. And we are those who support all of those energies to allow them to intermix and flow into each other as needed and to realize their potential in many ways to preserve that flow. And if it is not necessary, we take no action. For that is our role as our beings, our creed, our motto is not the right word. It is deeper than that. It is part of our being. It is part of our reason for being, to be those beings and those energies and supply those energies and to maneuver those energies into their greatest flow and fulfillment. And in that way, their desires are met and our desires are within that.
Thank you so much for your support and all that you do.
And we thank you for your support of the water beings and all life on your planet, and for your continued role in expanding that knowledge for yourself and for those like you.
Thank you.
Miles, please.
So my question has to do with alignment. What I've been focusing on lately is my heart alignment. Is this the path that you're talking about?
No, for you mentioned thinking, which is of the mind. It is a feeling, not a thinking. It is reacting to what you feel, not what you think you feel. If you are aligning energies, it is the job of the heart to determine the priorities and necessary paths. It is the path of the mind to supply that support to execute those actions necessary to accomplish the goals of the heart. In aligning those energies, it is a natural flow. It requires no thought. It is automatically having those, what you consider patterned responses, so that, like your muscle memory, we automatically respond when and how and where needed. It is us. It is not separate from us, nor will it be. For there is no mind, there is only heart action to fulfill our roles, and we do so within the flow. And you can flow. And if your heart is open and your mind is stilled, that will be a natural process for you.
Thank you.
So I am fairly connected to the Galactic Federation, and I have been for a long period of time. And I guess the first thing I'd like to say is that I am aligned with the message today. And I interpret that to be to grow out of my self-centered view of existence into service. I'm ready for that. And I suspect that the first step is to actually pronounce that and actually move in the direction of connecting with more people at whatever level that may require. But I'd like you to help me identify some ways that I personally, I could actually accomplish that
Your
service
path
to others.
of exploration is yours. You do not require our assistance in that manner, and your connections with other beings are not our concern in ways. We only direct you to the greater flow, and it is expressed as excitement and passion in your realm, and that is your guide. Let that be your master. Let that take you to where you need to go, despite where you may wish to go. The answers which you seek are there waiting for you in that flow, or you will never find them. And once you have those, you know that you are in that natural flow of your divine energy, of your paths which you have chosen, which will take you and intersect with all of those other beings which are also following their flow. For that is the synchronicity of things. That is the synchronicity of organization. And all outside of that is not our concern. We do not wish to say that we do not know it is important. But if we choose not to provide examples where others have not followed their flow, you as humans know plenty of those.
Thank you. I'm willing to work with you too. Uh, Joey, please.
Okay, this is something I've always worked on and I have been working on for a long time, but I have never brought any fruit from it. I want to be an effective manifester and manifest my highest outcome, or at least manifest some of my desires along the way. Do you have any advice on becoming a better manifester?
Follow Bashar and his formula. And we will say that in this physical realm, that our roles are limited to what we see as necessary. And those individual desires are not utmost in our mind, but we understand the importance to the individuals and to the groups. However, if, and we do urge you to try to connect with us in the way which we have come forth into the channel, for then we can answer those questions readily in your mind without utilizing the energies necessary to come through in a spoken fashion that is more in line with our flow, our goals, our fulfillment, and we can devote more energy more efficiently in those ways and in your dream states without utilizing so much which we would prefer to use for other purposes. We do not dodge your questions, but we urge you to use the resources which are already out there, which the Bashar and his formula are very efficient ways of learning that if applied properly and without any conflicting beliefs.
Thank you.
And
Jennifer, please.
Hello, thank you. I have a question about physical open contact. From it's my understanding, I don't know if I'm correct, that different beings come to different people in different forms. When the physical contact does occur, will each individual see the beings that look the way they imagine they would? How close are our human imaginations of what certain species of beings look like, as opposed to what they actually will in physical form?
the only important thing is how it feels for you and how you prepare to receive that energy. Your interpretations will manifest as you have instructed and create them. But the flow of those energies in is not in doubt. It has happened. It is continuing to happen. It is the human end which is not prepared to receive them. That is why you have not experienced them in this particular time. Once you are ready, all of you, you will get what you desire, for that is the flow of the energies which you have brought forth.
Thank you very much.
Does anybody else has a question or
And we
comment?
do understand that our ways are not human ways, and we understand that it may not always be received in the heart-centered ways of other beings who have come to you in this fashion. Rest assured, we do have affection for all of you, but we are focused on our duties and have that, we will say, a more narrow priority list which we attend to. And we would like for all of you to, at this time, take a moment to use that calling card. Now, you will not have that connection, but you will make a minor connection, for your bodies will have to adjust to the energies which we bring forth. But that is our desire for this evening. Now, the human channeler has stated to use the left hand and open and close it 3 times, resting on the left knee. Whichever hand is dominant for you will work for that purpose. You merely need to believe that it will happen and know that you are open to receiving that, and you will feel us. That is the natural flow of our energy into you, and that will be perhaps not so subtle, but it will be for a duration in which your body can attain and handle in your ways, and just enough to make that connection. And further connections will make it stronger and will not have the residual energy effects once we depart from that connection. If you all do that at this time, it will also increase the ability of you to handle more energy as a group as well as an individual, which makes it a safer initial action. Whether you have channeled previously or not, it is the connection to the energies which we ask of you. For then we may be of assistance with your cooperation in guiding you to where you wish to go. And
Christina has a question.
Hello and welcome to our group again.
mm,
Thank you also for your willingness to support. Do I understand correctly that you do recommend for everyone to try and invite you in, even if they have never channeled before?
we wish to connect with humans who are open-minded, and we wish to have our energies go out in greater force, in greater numbers, so that others will be able to make that transition once they become aware of our beings on your planet. For that day is coming, and we wish to make sure that humans come to us in a peaceful, non-threatening manner. For our energies and our appearance are not like yours. And if a shadowy being, we are tall whites. In your ways, perhaps shy of 3 meters tall, and in the biped shapes, but those are not firm. They are wisps. They are shadowy. They are a special brand of light expressed in your realm. And once we connect with more individuals, it will be easier amongst all of your populace, because that energy does emit and it will impact others. And they too will have the chance to accept it as being familiar in ways. And with that, we will be able to not only come into contact with you in ways and your kind, but it will help us direct how that contact occurs on our own terms. That is what our mission for this particular session, as you call them, is about. It is bringing that awareness to you, not only to have you focus on your own missions, which helps our mission, but to allow us to come to you so you may help us bring our mission of connection to others. It is more of an introduction, we will say, for the time is coming in which it will be a unavoidable situation, and we wish to make ourselves known and our intents known and our ways known before those exposures occur for the benefit of all. It does not serve to have humans retract in fear and to restrict their energies, for that is not the natural flow and our way.
It sounds like a very exciting co-creation to come. Thank you for inviting us to invite you.
Does it serve the purpose if we coherently, those that wish, of course, place the hand as stated and open it 3 times on my cue, all at the same time, all the ones that wish to do it. So let's do it.
We support that action.
And let it hold. Let your heart go to it and not your mind.
Fixating on your hand is a helpful point of that exercise. It is truly opening yourself up, and through the palm is a efficient way for us to enter. And we leave you to your efforts. And we send our appreciation and our gratitude for it helps humans accept us and our ways.
We thank you and we hope that you have received the openness that is here to support you. Thank you. Does anybody have a comment?
Yeah, they thought I was going to explain the connection so everybody would act upon it. And when they realized that didn't happen, they took it upon themselves to make sure that everybody got that. Did anybody feel anything from that?
I did.
Cool.
For sure. It hasn't stopped. It has not stopped yet.
And there may be some bodily sensations, like some pressures on the head or certain parts of your body, depending on the individual. But
it was very interesting when I placed my dominant hand on my knee, it was like my left hand kept going to the other knee as well. And so I left both of them placed there. When I did, my heart was activated and I felt it go up through my head. And as it got to the top of my head and my crown chakra, my head just expanded out like that. And that I definitely felt it in my head, like the beginning of a headache, but it didn't progress on. I felt it very much in my eyes, behind my eyes, but it felt protective is not the right word, but it felt like they were gathered around me in support. And it wasn't like I had to ask them anything. They knew, whatever.
Yep. They're not a big fan of the physical parts because that takes too much energy for them to densify. And if they don't have to, then they're not going to.
I had a similar experience with my palms, Arla, but I have almost always have constant pressure in my head and neck and things like that. I actually felt that go away. I feel like, wow, I can move. It's pretty amazing. So all that pressure is like not there right now. And I'm just like, wow.
So I feel that they were installing, let's see, how do we want to call this? So new strings of light. And depending on each one of you, that is going to have different effects and you're going to feel it somewhat differently, as it should be. And I also felt that the speed at which they will work is also different for every one of you. For obvious reasons, it's an adjustment of the entirety of what you are that they're trying to, in a sense, fit in, but they're doing adjustments in order to make that happen. And they are far more careful than one would have thought at the beginning because they seem to be forceful in their ways.
Yeah, and the software download is a very good analogy for what happens, but they're not going to give you anything more than what you need. They, like if you have a recipe and it calls for, you're making chocolate chip cookies and it says, put 17 chocolate chips in each cookie, they're not going to give you one chocolate chip more than what you need. And that is just their way. It's just a totally foreign way of thinking because and it's not like they think, they just know that is what is needed. And they will help all of us have a more efficient, energetic flow because that's what they do. But they do it without thinking. It's totally synchronous. It's wild.
Well,
go
go ahead. I have my two hands, in the same position, and they're equalizing. Okay, what's happening is that it's being equalized. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Arla.
I was just going to say that's exactly how it felt, Ray. What you said, that it's not like they're going to do or that they have to do anything. I just knew that was taken care of.
And thank you both for that. And with Joey, he was asking things that were too personal for him, and that was not their purpose in coming forth. So since it would not relate to the others in the group as much, then they just directed you to an efficient way to get the information that
Hmm.
you asked without them providing it, because once again, that was more efficient for them.
Hmm.
They've learned not to be so abrupt. Normally, they may have just said, Google it.
Now,
But
Joey should know that if he was interested in getting some other answers than just Bashar answers, there's people in this room right now that
Hmm.
could address those.
and that's really
Hmm.
good information. I mean, that's perfect information. And I've used it a lot, but it's
There's something interesting that I could say about uh, it is imperative that all of us take care of our basic security before trying to uh, do, what should I say, fly out into the higher and higher spheres, because we have to detach from the sea of fears that we have about our security in order to open the channels more and more and more. And so, what Joy brings to the table here tonight is something very important that we have to attend to. And in solving that, you're also expanding in massive ways in all other ways.
and I know it might be hard to believe, but they're a lot more personable.
They're a lot more what?
Personable.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean, yeah, they've come 2 or 3 times before, and they did not understand that any human niceties at all are social customs. So they would come in, and there was a lot of short answers, and it was choppy, and it was difficult energy on my body. And this, it only took me, what, I don't know, maybe 40 seconds or so to actually regain my physical function. Now they are still here and they are happy with what happened and that people understand, because that was their goal, and they will work with that energy to work on other people who you come into contact with. And if you give them permission, they will stay with you and guide you and never leave you, because you have been connected. And that is in my way of thinking, it's a very positive thing, because if they talk to you, it's important. Otherwise, they would not be talking to you. It's like the bat phone going off, and you're like, well, I know that's important because it's that bat phone, you know? So that is a way of amping up. That's why whenever they ask me to do something, I'm like, I'm there for you. I know this is important, or you wouldn't have asked. So,
I love the idea of spreading the energy.
well,
You
and
have it, you can spread it.
Yes, but it's like now I have an additional reference. You
You
know,
have an additional entire, at least one more tube of light going through you.
yeah,
And that should strengthen everything else quite a bit.
it is a lot of fun to be conscious of this and to walk out in the world and observe.
Yeah, and you need to maintain yourself as the observer
Mhm.
and project all of that goodness that you have into the situations that you see as an observer.
And one of the things that I think that they did not really go into detail on was when we focus on our roles in the Ascension and Open Contact. Normally we think of it might be one or two, it's more of a singular focus. And that focus and their connection will allow them to will give us information about other roles that we're performing, other missions that we may not be consciously aware of. Because like they said, we all chose to be here. And, knowing why we're here and what those missions are and how they fit in to open contact and raising the vibration of humanity overall is a very powerful thing. It's that intention and that knowing. And thank you all for being part of it.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, because they're not really the most exciting in my judgmental opinion of the entities that I bring forth.
Well, after
But they are
doing the hybrid
important.
children, they may seem a little muted to you.
Well, and they're always searching for how to respond. It's like they're digging into the files of my brain. How can we explain this efficiently? And sometimes they look at some of the words that I would, I have available, and they're like, this is if it requires somebody to think, why am I might have to look this up or something like that. Then,
We're
but
all learning together, that'll get
yeah,
easier the more that you do it, right? You have to learn each other's symbolisms
but
because the messages don't come. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't know any channels who have said the messages come to them in words. They don't.
doesn't happen.
You have to translate it into words. So that takes time to learn, I think.
But they're never going to give it, their connections may be a bit uncomfortable, but they will fade and they're never going to give you more than what you can handle.
Right.
Like was said, they're very gentle with making sure that, you get what you need without giving you too much.
Yeah. Which you probably wouldn't accept anyway. I mean, if Eve tries to give me a concept that I can no way at all understand, I just don't. I don't even try. I wait and we'll talk about it over the course of several days, and then maybe I'll come to a way that okay, I understand that now. And then I can do it. But there have been times when I can't, I just can't. The concept is too big for me, or there's too much what do you call it when things seem to be in opposition, but they're really not? Paradox. Like there might be paradoxes that I'm not able to overcome at first, and I need time before I can do that and express it. So I think that, it's all learning whenever you're channeling any entity, an old one, a new one, or whatever, and both you and the entity or entities are not the same ones as the first time because you've all been through all these changes, right? So there's that on top of it.
Wendy and Dave, I know since both of you channel, if you could weigh in, that would be helpful.
No.
And if not, Zoe and George. Oh, there they are.
You caught us by surprise. We were having a quite a high vibrational moment.
Well, you can
Just don't
certainly
show the pictures. Don't show the pictures yet.
whatever you're comfortable with.
No, not like that.
It's a family show, just remember.
We were talking about following the formula and the wonderful message
that statement alone just spurned a conversation with us that was very synchronistic for today, and just so many things were developed from that, just that statement.
Well,
Follow
cool.
the formula.
And Zoe and George, would you like to weigh in?
I felt a lot of energy through the whole when you were channeling. I felt a lot of energy in my heart. I wanted to talk to them, but I didn't have a question. I was going to ask them where do they live? Because I don't really know anything about the tall white, so I don't know how they would have responded to that.
Well, they have general areas of responsibility. The ones that I am connected to, and they're really big on connecting with the indigenous. That is how they connected to me here because I have had at least two other lives in this general area, and one of them was as an indigenous being. And that is how they got to know me and why they chose me to come through to learn about humanity because they knew I could be a bridge to other individuals through our group. And they said that my vocabulary gave them and my ability to handle their energy because I'd already been channeling two other beings and that my ability and they said the basic thing was I listened. When they talked, I listened. So that was why and now they're with me all the time. I mean, they don't like I say, they don't come in and talk a whole lot, but when they do, it's a different energy. It's forceful and yet reserved. It's kind of like what I feel with the Sasquatch energy. You can feel how much power is behind it, but they're handling you with kid gloves. And thank you for sharing that. And I know this is George's first experience with us, but George, did you try the connection?
I did.
You felt some energy?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean he's been studying the metaphysics stuff for quite a while, so
Yeah.
he didn't come here to be a wallflower.
He's shy. He's a little bit shy.
We're gonna have Zoe buy a camera to put him on the spot there in the background.
Yeah, we need to, that's it. The close
Yeah.
up.
And you can have a switch, when
I
you
do.
are talking, you have the bigger spot on you. When he's talking, you have the bigger spot, back there. That sort of thing.
Well, Ray, this may be a little bit off topic, but while you were channeling, Eve sometimes gives nicknames to people. She doesn't do it a lot, but occasionally. She has decided to call you Sunshine.
That is his middle name, Ray Sunshine. How did
A ray of sunshine.
Yes, exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what she said.
Indeed.
He's a ray of sunshine. So if ever she's talking about it, she'll say, the sunshine, this, that, or the other, and she will mean you.
That's delightful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome. She just calls me this one. No name, nothing. She just, this one, blah, blah,
As
blah.
opposed to the other ones, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
Yeah, it's a unique feeling for me, But I've had beings like in the open invitation who have come in who were not a good fit,
Yeah,
and it was uncomfortable,
yeah,
But like they all say, I signed up for this. I know what I'm subjecting myself to, and I know that I'm safe. So
yeah, definitely.
I'm having
bring it
some,
on.
sorry. I'm having some cool flashbacks, if you will, from my childhood. Because we just had this experience and now like the tall whites are talking to me and I'm remembering that yes, I know them.
They've
And
been around for a
I
while?
remember times in childhood, I can see it. I can see it. And it's something that scared me. Like I never really got scared of a lot of experiences that I went through as a child. It was all pretty natural to me. But they they scared me. I can remember, I can see standing at the end of the hallway in my old house, and they're telling me, yes, yes, yes. You weren't ready then, you know? Wow. Because this is I mean, I can't tell you how, like, I have sinus issues and all this stuff. I can breathe. I haven't breathed this easy in months. I'm not kidding. I'm just like, this is wild to me.
The
Like,
natural flow, right?
yes, yes. And I'm just like, what? What? So
Well, and they do
thank you,
look
Ray.
they do look like big spirits. I mean, they're eight
Yes,
foot tall,
yes,
and they're not, you can, if you look at them sideways, they look a little bit more substantial than if you look at them directly.
yes. And I
And
remember the shadow, which was what was scary to me as a child because the people or beings or just these things usually had more of a form or a light. So the shadow thing was like, I don't know what's going on, you know? And I remember, um, speaking to my grandmother about it, and because she was the one that I could talk to about everything, and she just said, the same thing that when you're ready, that it will be okay. So here we are. And Yvonne, I must tell you that my grandmother was full-blooded Ojibwe, so she had much darker complexion, but you resemble her so much.
Oh, thank you.
I'm like gonna cry. I'm just like,
Oh, thank you.
yes.
sweet.
I do have 4 Indian guides, and I don't know what their lineage is. I think Lakota, but I don't really know for sure. And I know that I have through mirror meditation, I've met 2 Native American selves, right? A young one and an old medicine woman. So there is a lot of that in me.
Cool.
Even though you wouldn't, I mean, I'm a half Italian, half Portuguese, but that's just, this incarnation.
And
Right.
don't forget to
When,
put your information in the chat.
yeah. When we say, all our relatives, we really mean that. Like everybody is connected. My people believe that.
Definitely,
We're we're
definitely.
we're from the northern parts and we're all kind of mixed, so we come in many shades and all that. That's not what's important. So
That's right.
And the tall whites do like being quasi-physical around water where there's lots of fog.
Well, I wasn't going to mention that I have seen him in the fog, in between trees and right above a
Mhm.
lake.
Yes.
Okay, often. Okay, and I have this a screensaver picture that somebody actually is a real picture of trees and fog, and
I've
I
seen that,
every
yeah.
once in a while I go, oh my God, there they are again.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to see something like
Yeah.
that.
Because they
Yeah, I was going to say to Jennifer, I've never been frightened of anything that's come to me, but I have been put down, squelched by my Catholic family. You'd say something and they'd say,
They
"Who do you
would do
think
something
you
like that
are?"
in the Catholic faith. Oh
yeah.
Yeah,
God,
there's a lot of channels
what a
coming from the Catholic
surprise,
faith.
We had an interesting blend. It was like we had the Catholicism, we had the traditional ways, and there was just like keep certain things at home. And then
Right.
certain family members who were not native were very strict. It was very conflicting, but I did have a lot of support. I
Well,
did.
that's
There
good.
was just certain times and places for everything. And then later in life, I allowed myself to have everything squashed down for me. But it's good to be back.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I have a niece who I never met. And my brother, was a daughter of my brother who has since passed on and hopefully learned some lessons. But he never ever talked to her about his childhood, about me or my sister, who was clairvoyant. He never talked about any of that. He didn't believe it. Well, just about, I guess it's been maybe 3 or 4 months. She accidentally found me on Facebook, and it turns out she also channels.
sweet.
I know it's been amazing, amazing to have her in my life. I can't, it's such a gift, especially because my sister died about a year and a half ago. So I didn't have that connection anymore, with her. So to have Tara be in my life now, and I can tell her all the things that her father didn't, tell her about, and that she channels also is just, I don't know. It's like Chuck and I guess
Thank you,
Lewis,
Joey.
all of y'all are saying, if you just stay in your truth, amazing things happen. Amazing things.
And your sister sent her to you.
I think that's highly probable. Yeah, that's highly probable.
That's what came to me as soon as you said that. So
Yeah, yeah. That see, now I want to weep. I'm not going
don't
to, but
fight
I
it.
have the urge
This
to.
is a safe place for sharing. So
Yeah.
I mean, everybody who's here has seen me cry for the most part. Well, those who have been here regular see me cry over and over and over again. So,
Good. Yeah, that's
and Christine, if you would like to share, I know you prefer to stay in the background, but you know how shy I am. But if you'd
I don't have too much to say, just that this is just so lovely to hear everybody's stories and for me to be able to relate to a lot of what Jennifer has shared. And it's just really great. I love the connections and hearing it all. So
thank you.
thank
That's one, and you manifested it. We all manifested it, We're all here
together.
together for a reason. And it is more than just being with ourselves. And thank you, Zoe and George.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you
Our
everyone. Thanks
pleasure.
for having me. And hopefully I'll see you next
Nice
Thursday.
to meet you, George.
Yep, just let me know, a Thursday or a Sunday, whichever one's best for
Yeah,
you.
I can't do Sundays, but I can
Okay.
do.
Yeah, you told me that before, but
Good to
Yeah.
meet you.
Well, I could if I
Yeah.
really pushed myself, I suppose, because my Sunday meeting starts at 2 and goes however, 2 to 2:15, 2 to 5, 2 to, it's like this. We don't know how long it's gonna go. And part of that depends on whether Eve will talk. Sometimes she doesn't, sometimes she doesn't. So it just depends. But I need personally, I need the morning to
well,
to
funny you
prepare
should say
myself.
that, because
What?
starting in January, we have plans to start our Sunday morning sessions
Yeah,
so they can be in Europe.
that's not going to happen for me. Because I am not a morning person, and you'll find if you go on Ivan Bonamici, if you go on YouTube and look, you'll find a lot of my sessions are like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I'm a night person, a night owl, and always have been, which made raising a child very challenging, right? And to get her ready for school, and I'm still sleeping. But anyway, yeah, so probably never Sunday, but definitely I can do
On a
Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully before 2 a.m.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I mean, look, I was late to this one and it's at 7. But that wasn't so much me as just trying to find all the information to log in and do all that stuff, make sure
First time's a charmer,
Yeah,
always,
exactly.
Now
always.
you know, because I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.